So Nikon has been in the news recently, so has Fuji and a lot of other cameras. But what did Canon just do? For those of you who have not heard by now or just looking for some, tips about the announcement, the preview and everything like that, Canon announced their 7D Mark II. Now, to kind of give you the timeline on where this camera is, what it's replacing, all that kind of stuff, well, the name kind of gives it away. It is replacing the Canon 7D, which was from 2009. They released it late in, I think it was like September in 2009, and it was an extremely popular camera. Their two biggest selling cameras at the time were the 60D and the 7D. And just in 2012, so 2 years ago, they came out with the 70D to obviously replace the 60D, which a lot of YouTubers use for, for their videos because it had the swivel screen and it was just a really, really popular camera. Now with the Canon 70D, and the reason I'm bringing all this up is because it kind of intertwines with the 7D Mark II. With the 70D, they included the touchscreen and they included the autofocusing technology, basically to make it smooth and everything, as its camcorder-like ENG, electronic news gathering quality, which is absolutely insane. And they put it into a DSLR, the first time that was ever done. And now that has been brought over, that technology, so Canon's really great at carrying over technology to the 7D Mark II. So as I said, so the 7D was from a couple years ago. What was it? Right on the Canon website. So the 7D had 18 megapixels, just to kind of show you what it's replacing. It did 8 frames per second when you were shooting continuously, ISO 100 to 6400. That was really standard at the time, and really that's what it was. And also it was pretty standard, but Nikon was really doing it first, was putting 1920 by 1080 video with 30 frames per second. As you see, they had it right here, 2997. It's really great. It wasn't a full frame camera. It was the APS-C CMOS sensor. It had 19-point all-cross autofocusing point, which is great, 63 metering zone system. The bodies are always pretty much the same. So what is different? What is better? What makes this freaking worth it? So there was the 7D. Well, as I said, I brought up the 70D for the reason because they were using the a Digic 5 image processor, the dual pixel CMOS AF, that ENG style, and they had built-in wireless connectivity, 19 all autofocusing point cross-type system, and the ISO was a little better. So here comes the big boy, the Canon 7D Mark II. It looks like the body's a little more rugged. It looks like it's a little different. People were waiting for this camera for such a freaking long time if you shot Canon. So as you read here, it is available for $1,800 for the body only in, they were saying late November. So that's going to be huge. And the thing they really wanted to do was just make it a little better. So they did make it 20.2 megapixels CMOS chip, and it's going to, as I said, it's going to carry that same autofocusing system that the 70D had. So that's something that's really, really, really huge, and it's going to actually use one of the newer processors, and that's the Digic 5. As I said, the 70D, one of their newer bodies, was carrying the Digic 5 Plus, so this is carrying the Digic 6, so it's newer, and Nikon's still kind of behind using that. I think they're at the 4 Plus for the most part on their the processing side. And what's pretty cool is they increased the frames per second to 10 frames per second. Ugh, I don't know why I'm having tongue twisters. So that is essentially that. It's just kind of the quick preview. There you go. You get the top look. Basically looks exactly like, many of the Canon cameras. Really, really strong camera. I think, for this price, and I think how much is this? So the 70D is $1,100. You could still get the 7D for like $800, $900. But this is almost thinking like, would you just step up full frame? Because the 7D is not full frame. Would you just go with the 6D, which is full frame, for the price? Because it's almost relatively crossing over. So it's very, very interesting. And one thing that's really, really interesting for me is that Canon is that, like, you got your Sony and Panasonic. They're pumping out the 4K resolution technology. The GH4 is really strong. Sony has some of their stuff, but Canon and Nikon aren't doing it. Nikon, I would never assume they're going to do anything first because they're extremely scared for absolutely no freaking reason. But Canon's always been innovative in the DSLR side for the most part. Panasonic's been putting out extremely strong stuff in their GH line. But Canon has not done it yet. I figured with this rumor, as I said, it's been going on for about 2 years now, that they would incorporate that technology, the 4K, because that is, that's what's going to be the future. That's why just the other day, SanDisk announced their 512 gigabyte card. So it's just very interesting on some of the things that they didn't do, and they just beefed it up a little bit. Do I say it's a huge improvement? It's nothing mind-blowing, but it is a newer technology. It's going to be faster. It's going to be better. The dynamic range looks like it's going to be better than its older, the Mark I, the older point. So there you go. That is the quick look into the Canon 7D. They announced it. It'll be $1,800. So did they make a big splash? No, but did they make a really, really great camera? Yes, they absolutely did. But this is where you're going to have to come in time. Do you want to just buy, $1,800 for the body only, or do you want to go lower end in the market and possibly, invest in lenses and invest in a lower body and just go full frame, or just go full frame? So what do you guys think? Canon, great stuff. They didn't really blow it away. I think they missed the mark a little bit because they just didn't do much different. Yes, new technology, it'll be better, but what would you guys who are Canon, or even from the Nikon looking in on Canon, because they do a lot of the better video DSLR type of thing, what would you have liked to seen? What do you think could have blown you away? Told you what I thought. Eric Rossi, the guy with the eye. Canon 7D Mark II is now in existence. That rumor can drop. That's all I got. Let me know down below, guys. Have a good one.